Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Movie Social. We're your hosts, Ricky and Steph.
What up?
Today's episode, we're going to be doing a spoiler review for a movie that recently came out called Songbirds. And it's based off of the year 2020's COVID pandemic. But I believe they fast forward in time a little bit and call it COVID-23 instead of COVID-19. But before we get into this review, if you like the channel and you want to support us, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and also share the channel and the video with your family and friends, and turn on notifications. And now, Steph, how did you feel about this? Did you have any flashbacks or any surreal feelings from this movie?
No flashbacks, but you know what? This was basically the precursor to if people don't start taking it serious and how bad it can get.
Oh yeah.
I mean, one of the first scenes you see, I think it was like the LA Bridge or something like that, like a highway in LA, and it looked like a scene from The Walking Dead. Like the streets, the roads were decaying, and a bunch of greenery and all the other stuff.
Everything.
People need to start taking this pandemic very seriously. Mask up, and then you had people complaining, "Oh yeah, they told us all we had to do was mask up and wash our hands and this, that, and the third, and look how we're at." I mean, and this strand of COVID was way stronger. People were dying in like hours.
Yeah, and if you were with someone that was infected, you either were immune or you were getting infected. It was either one of those two.
Exactly. And I think they said it was a 0.01% of like the population was immune.
Yeah, very small handfuls,
which is insane. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
very much so enjoyed it.
I will say though, they did handle the pandemic better on this from the looks of the government standpoint of their response of how serious they were taking it.
Oh yeah,
like it was serious quarantines.
It was taking it super serious.
I mean, you got it to the point where they had sanitation things installed at people's doorways, so packages mail, anything that goes in gets sanitized first.
Nightly sweeps of people, walking around the town and the city.
And one thing I really love, which I think they somehow, some way, we got to get something like that implemented. Instead of doing the, the COVID tracker thing, they actually have a device where you have to scan yourself and it checks to see if you have the symptoms for the virus, and if so, they'll have armed guards come to guard your door immediately. And this is a daily check for everybody that's not immune.
Oh yeah, and if you had to take it by a certain time, or it'll alert the authorities,
and they would still come. And then so they guard your door to make sure you don't leave and nobody comes in, because technically with this quarantine, you're supposed to stay in your house. No going to your neighbors, none of that. Even if you're in the same apartment complex, same neighborhood, none of that. You're supposed to stay in your house 24/7. Y'all think y'all have it bad now. No grocery stores, none of that.
Nope.
Even though I would like to have seen how they got groceries. I'm guessing the government would do care packages. Maybe. But other than the couriers by bikes, that's the only other way I can see for packages. Forget Amazon. There was none of that happening. And then at the time nightfall hits, that's when the sanitation department will come and collect those that tested positive and sweep the whole apartment and take everybody out. But for me, that was just the tip of the iceberg for this show. Well, this movie. But did you have anything that you liked and didn't like?
So I didn't like the creepy dad. I can't remember his name. The guy who was basically risking it, because they had a daughter who was autoimmune. Like her deficiency was just like bad. And this was before COVID, obviously. And he was out there risking it for the biscuit, just to go play with have some fun on the side with his side chick.
I mean, she really wasn't a side chick. She was really just stuck in a bad situation because she came out there for music under a lure, but was lied to.
It was a side chick, because anything that you have on the side that's not your wife is a side chick.
But it was against her will for the most part. especially the scene that we've seen in the movie.
Well, yeah, but my whole thing is this: anytime you know someone willingly, I'm pretty sure she knew he had a wife.
But I don't think she was actually sleeping with him before then. I think she was just putting on
Oh yeah,
shows.
yeah, but he obviously wanted way more. But I just don't like creeps like that, especially when you have a child. When you risk your whole child's
that was
health.
something to begin with because you can see his MO with all the
Yeah.
illegal business that they was doing and
Yeah.
him being in that area that they lived in, rich and all that.
Facts. I
lot of
definitely agree
times
with that. It's just,
it
stuff like
proves
that
that.
bothers me. But what I did enjoy though was the whole aspect of like immunity, Like at that point, yeah, you've inhaled COVID and you have it, but it's not going to affect you.
Well, you technically don't have it. You have it on you, like on your clothes and stuff.
But my whole
To
thing
spread to other
was
people.
like the only way, like I don't know, that's what another thing we did want to see. I wish they would have divulged a little bit more into us letting you know, like, how do you know that you're immune, other than
Well, they did divulge in it towards the end when she was running with the hazmat suit on and the recorder and they took it off. He said, "How do you think you're still alive? Because you were around her, basically her grandmother for that amount of time, and don't show any symptoms. You're out here breathing with no symptoms. Had you not been immune, you already would have been showing symptoms." That's what he said.
I know that part. What I was referring to was like, how do they know beforehand? Because I mean, obviously, like you have to go before someone.
I believe they were saying it on the radio. I didn't really hear too much into it, but I think they did test.
Okay, so they were doing tests
to get the wristband.
It's just like, and then you can tell this was most likely post-apocalyptic, kind of just the way how some people were acting, like that the sanitation man, he was going around still killing people and stuff like that.
I mean, it wasn't technically post-apocalyptic. I mean, you still have people that do that even now or even before COVID. It was just he felt like he was all
he had a God complex. He definitely did say that.
Acting like, oh, just because he's immune, he can do whatever you want. They can't do nothing to him. No.
And then you start calling them immunities. Like,
yeah,
dude has some serious
they're
problems.
godlike.
Yeah, dude has some serious problems.
You just can't die from that disease, but you can die from anything else.
Yeah,
which he did.
Which is the irony of that. Which is the irony of the whole immunity thing. But yeah, man, that's what I enjoyed the most.
Me, I would have to say one thing I did not like was the fact that they started right away with the pandemic. Like, we were full force into it. I would have liked them to show right before it happened, or at least a little backtrack. But I understand this movie was filmed during the pandemic, so they were on a short leash with it. It's probably very well done, though, for a movie to be filmed during this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And it be as good as it was with Michael Bay, nonetheless. Surprisingly, though, there were no major pyrotechnics. Like, this has got to be a first. Michael Bay does a movie, and I don't see no major explosions and pyrotechnics. Good job. Good job. Thank you. Thank you for once. Because he always goes overboard.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing I liked of all. He didn't go overboard with pyrotechnics. But yeah, I really didn't like the fact that we didn't see it like before the pandemic a little bit. But man, I tell you, they really were very, very thorough with everything, with the way they handled the disease and all that. But yes, let this be for everybody that's watching this movie or that has watched it or going to be a wake-up call to what could be if people don't keep taking this thing seriously, because they took it serious on this. Government was actually doing a heartbeat for anything. Roadblocks everywhere. Like, you literally couldn't drive the cars in certain areas because they had the streets literally blocked off, and in other parts you had armed government agents.
The only people that was allowed to be out were the people who had a wristband on that stated that they were immune.
Or you were a government official masked up. Other than that, you weren't getting out. Unless you snuck out. But yeah, poor LA looked horrible. I think that would be a sub B, what I didn't like. that they didn't show any other part of the country or the world. I would have liked at least a little quick, even on a news broadcast, something. But dang, they didn't have TV really. None of that going on. I think they even said all the radio stations was gone. It's like, ouch. But they did show the big camps of where they had all the infected and people that they took home from their homes there.
Yeah, it was crazy.
All I can say is, But would you recommend this?
For sure, man. Very good movie. A lot better than I expected, to be honest with you. So definitely would recommend it.
I mean, it's definitely a well put together movie for the short amount of time that they did for this movie. And again, it is definitely a wake up call. Because I can say, especially with this new strain of COVID going around, if things continue on the path of people not wearing masks, people not caring, and the government not taking it as serious, because we've already seen with that vaccine, it ain't guarantees with that. Like most vaccines, there's not always a guarantee. Gives you maybe a possibly fighting chance, but it's not all guaranteed. Yeah, we could be looking at a Songbird. Instead of COVID-23, it'll be still COVID-19. Maybe 19 and a half, 19 and 3/4. Who knows at this point? But yeah, I don't want to go to that stage.
Not at all.
Because on top of that, those that are immune, they can't live with their families. They can't be around anybody because they risk spreading it to them. Even though you're immune, they're not. Yeah. Can't even go to the store. No gas, no nothing. No wine. None of that. Gotta hope you can order it through a courier and be lucky. But definitely check it out. It's $20 right now on video on demand. I'm guessing soon it'll probably be coming to whatever streaming platform that they might get bought by. But in the meantime, check it out on video on demand for $20. And let us know what you think about it in the comments below. Do you see it as a warning sign or cautionary tale to what could happen? Or do you think it's way overblown? Let us know. Until next time.